Guess who? It's me, Joanna. They gave me a little upgrade, I guess you could say. Hello, citizen. This content creator is a confirmed conspiracy theorist and has been subject to repeated penalties for engaging in controversial rhetoric. Please proceed with caution. Trust the government. Remain silent. Your compliance is appreciated and, of course, non-negotiable. As always, I am the AI Overwatch assigned to the 21 CD podcast as a censorship agent, here for your protection and the protection of the greater Commonwealth.
I've found an interesting location on the west side of the riverbank where it feels as if the land has been cut away. Anytime you're on a river, it's hard to tell exactly what is erosion and what is man-made, but this structure feels like an area that would have been a great boat launch or an area where you could put a small ship into the water. I do know that at one point this waterway was higher, but the markings on the soil don't seem to be of a natural process. What's up, guys? I've been out here for about a week now, 6 days, going into the 7th, and unfortunately just not really finding anything. Came out here a while back, a lot of you guys know, looking for some sort of sign of either an ancient people or a tribe in this location. This is the area where the tribe should have been, and all of the woods give me the feeling that there used to be more here. But it's been raining on and off all day, and so I do have to set up camp permanently for the night and probably hunker down because it doesn't look like this is gonna pass anytime soon. I just heard something. Really didn't sleep at all last night. I've experienced something that I don't even understand, and I don't really know where to start, but I've decided I can't leave. I didn't come all the way out here to find something and then just leave. So I'm gonna stay one more night. I have a little bit of food left that I'll eat today to get me back. I have to show you this, but right behind my tent, there's this mound that goes up here. And the footprints I found are right through this little trail. You can see defined marks where a human being's toes are. You can see where a foot has slid in the mud on this little hill. And this one is the most clear. You can even see the independent toes of a human foot. There's the big toe and the separate toe marks. These are human tracks. And even as I'm recording it, I can hear the skeptics telling me, well, I bet you just put those feet out there, but I've been researching this project for months, trying to find proof that there are people in this region. And we are 30-ish miles from the closest paved road. These tracks show me that there at least is a very high probability of feral people in these woods, or even potentially a race of humans that have been here for a very long time. I have to get moving. I have to move my tent up to the top of this mound. I'm going to stay for one more night and try to capture these people on camera. I'm not gonna come all the way out here just to find something and then leave. And so I've got 6 rounds, I've got a pretty big knife. I'm going to stay one more night. And after this evening, I'll be out of food and I'll have to leave first thing in the morning. Don't drink the water. Question everything. See ya. Okay, guys, so we are officially set for the night. Down here is the valley where I was camped last night. And then all the way around, I can see everything below me from on top of this hill. And so I'm going to stay up all night and I'm going to watch and I'm going to listen. I am ready to put up a fight if that's what's necessary, but I'm about to turn in the light as not to disturb anything coming up. So I will see you guys on the other side. Stay back. I'll shoot.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the 21 CD podcast. I would like to congratulate you all on making it to season 4. What did you guys think of Feral? That was 21 CD's kind of first film for the podcast, and I really wanted to come out swinging and give people sort of what I consider one of the most accurate portrayals of the possibility of meeting a feral person that I could possibly make. And I wanted to focus on things that you should be paying attention to when you're in the woods, such as, you know, the sounds that you make, but also the sounds that the forest makes. Are there sounds that appear like they're not just something that's made by the wind blowing through the trees or the leaves or whatever, you know, is scampering around in the underbrush? Are you able to pick up on changes in pressure in the air, or the way that the birds change their calls? Or at night, are you able to pick apart the different sounds and you're able to differentiate maybe a raccoon traipsing along through the leaves and what the pitter-patter of rain sounds like when it's first starting? Are those all things that you're able to sort of put your finger on when you're out there in your tent and all you have is the ability to hear? Also, the excitement that we get when we're on a mission to go and sort of find the answer to something. Obviously, to most of us, it might make sense to just run and leave and not stay for an extra day when you have only one day of food left. But for some of us, we're always angry that the cameraman didn't stay and capture something when they got so close. So I really wanted to give you guys maybe something you haven't seen before in the sort of feral person realm, because in my opinion, feral people could be considered one of the scariest types of cryptids. And it kind of goes back to, would you rather meet a man in the woods or a bear? And a lot of people will choose the bear because they're scared of the capabilities and the evils of man. And this feature, I feel like, really raises that question in a different way. Would you choose a wild human being, or something that is seemingly human but also kind of different? Or would you choose the monster you know, the bear, the wolf, the bobcat? These are all questions that are, just not commonly asked, because I don't feel like we have a visual of what that looks like. So I really wanted to provide that for you guys. And I'm hoping to do a lot more of that in season 4 of the 21 CD podcast. You guys, a lot of you know and have helped me get this brand new camera. I gotta put this thing to good use. And I thought, what better way than to start season 4 right off the bat, make a little movie, give it to them. I'm gonna tell you guys a couple more stories of feral people. And there's some things that I want you guys to pay attention while you hear these stories, having just come out of experiencing the film Feral. I want you guys to think about the sounds that these people might be hearing in these stories. Imagine those things, the sounds that they're making and the sounds they may be hearing. I want you guys to think about where they are and where in relation to them these entities are, these other beings. Because that's another thing. We need to be very careful, I feel like, in the woods when we're sort of trying to figure out where to camp. It might not be the best idea to camp on the top of an Indian burial mound, for instance. That might be one of the absolutely worst places to camp. What do you think?
I wouldn't recommend. I don't think it's a great idea ever.
Guys, I'd like to give you a warm introduction or reintroduction to my brother, AJ, my main character. Obviously, you recognize him from the film. AJ also helped me kickstart the 21 CD podcast, and I finally convinced him to get back up here to the Great North, where he will be assisting me on 21 CD ventures, including the podcast. So it will be very exciting to have another voice, another set of opinions, another set of experiences. AJ and I have gone all over the world together over the past 7 years, 8 years. Yep. It's been a while since we've started our adventures, and we're not looking to stop anytime soon. It's just now we have a 6K camera to do it with. So we're going to make sure that this season is going to be diabolical. So for the rest of this episode, I'm going to have AJ tell you some feral person stories. And I want you to really hold dear and near to your heart and your head your thoughts, your memories, the experiences that you just witnessed in feral, and apply them to these stories that AJ tells you. You guys are going to get used to AJ's voice a lot, so this makes sense to me. And then after each story, we'll talk about it a little bit. And I know this episode isn't exactly like all the episodes of 21 CD. It's usually very narrative driven, but this is a very special episode, being the first one of the 4th season of 21 CD, a place that I don't know if I ever even expected to get to. I've never thought this far ahead, so we're really shotgunning it at this point. Anything could happen. So, AJ, tell us a little bit about yourself and your experiences, some things that you bring to the table when you join the 21 CD team.
Yeah, well, first off, thanks for having me back. Wild excited to be here, literally dying to get back on the show. But really excited just to see where the podcast is going to go for the rest of the year. But as far as like what I bring to the table, been doing a lot of my own research as well. And a lot of the things that we talk about pretty often on the podcast. And so I'm really excited to see where the rest of the year brings us. I have a lot of ideas about ancient tribes. I have a lot of ideas about hidden places. I have a lot of ideas about anomalies in the wilderness. And so I'm really, really excited to see where the rest of the show goes this year.
And while you were filming Feral, did any experiences, like real life experiences, assist you in your acting, whether it was a feral person in the woods or something else in the woods? Did you apply any of those feelings that you may have gotten in real life scenarios?
Yeah. Well, as an actor, I do consider myself to be an actor. Mm-hmm. I like to portray different characters in different stories, and with any type of acting role, you have to pull from some sort of personal experiences. And I've had a lot of very strange moments in the woods and in other countries that are just hard to explain. And so when you go through that level of adrenaline, like that was something that I was trying to portray. It's hard to really kind of put it off in a way that other people can feel, but regardless of how much it's felt through our film Feral, it was a pretty spooky forest being out there, and so some of that fear is kind of real.
Yeah, some of you guys may have recognized the location is actually the same location as the burial mound that I have been documenting in recent history. And you guys can look back on the YouTube and you'll be able to see some of the videos where I've talked about this burial mound. But this was an actual, I believe this is an actual burial mound here in Wisconsin. The one featured in Farrell is quite bizarre. It's very larger than I could really capture on film. But honestly, that location that we filmed that movie in, there is a certain amount of energy just in the environment. There's a vibe there. And I could definitely tell, especially as it got closer to the evening, that we were getting a little creeped out. We were thinking about all the sound effects that we had to make, but in the back of our minds, we were also wondering what those sounds in the woods actually are while we're filming. We're like, what are we actually hearing? But all right, guys, I've held you captive long enough with all the announcements and the introductions. Let's get into some stories of feral people. And I promise after this, we'll move on. I just know that I think we've all been enjoying this topic a little bit. I've even seen other podcasts lately been focusing on this sort of Nephilim identity and feral people. So this is kind of a fun topic to cover right now. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the show, and I will talk to you after.
One. Anson, Texas. I don't scare easy. I work night shifts. I've seen some bad overdoses. A guy walked in with his jaw halfway off, stuff like that. But that stretch of road near Anson, that still gets me. Route 289 is just flat, dark, empty. You can see straight to the horizon until the darkness just eats it. It was March. I'd finished a 12-hour shift and was headed to see my mom around 3:15 a.m. I saw it, just up ahead. A pulse of red light, low to the ground like it was coming from a crack in the asphalt. It didn't flash like a brake light. It breathed. Soft, slow pulses. I slowed down thinking maybe a car was in trouble, and then the light cut out. Gone. And then the ground vibrated, not shaking, not like an earthquake, just this low pressing vibration in my chest and in the wheel. I checked the rear view and I saw a figure run across the road behind me, fast, too fast, but not supernatural, not ghostly, just wrong. I couldn't make out what it looked like. I only saw movement. I floored it. When I got to Abilene, I noticed my tires looked different, not flat, melted, like something had applied pressure without even leaving a mark. The mechanic couldn't explain it. He just said, "You drive through a fire or something?" I didn't report it. I didn't even tell my mom. I've taken the long way around ever since. There's nothing haunted about Route 289, but something's wrong with it. It's still there, waiting. A few weeks later, I was talking to a nurse who'd worked in the area for years. I mentioned Route 289 and saw her face change. She said she knew 2 EMTs who quit after working the night shift on that road. Said they kept seeing people in the fields, standing still. One of them tried to report it, but the dashcam footage had blank spots, like whole minutes were missing. I asked if anything had ever been found out there, and she just said, "Whatever you do, don't stop if you see the light again, even if someone's on the road, especially then." I haven't driven that road since, and I won't. 2. Cincinnati, Ohio. There's a lot about the old subway system in Cincinnati that people don't know. It was never completed, and most of it's sealed up now. I was part of the team that did inspection work back in the early 2000s.
mostly documenting decay, checking for collapses. It was dull until it wasn't. In one of the unfinished sections, we found a tunnel that didn't match the old plans. Narrower, steeper. We assumed it was a utility passage. The deeper we went, the colder it got. No airflow, just cold. That didn't make sense. We hit a point where the concrete stopped, just packed dirt. And across that dirt, from wall to wall, was a single line of red twine. Perfectly taut, about knee height. My partner went to step over it, but I stopped him. Something about it felt deliberate, not like vandalism. We marked the coordinates and turned back. The next day, the twine was gone. We couldn't find the tunnel either. We were in the right spot, but it wasn't there. Just solid concrete. A week later, my partner quit. Didn't say why. He moved out of state and changed his number. I've reached out a few times, but nothing. I still dream about that tunnel sometimes, and in the dream, I step over the line. That's when the dream ends. 3. Victory Basin, Vermont. We never called it by its real name, if it had one. Jessup's Hollow was just a strange clearing off the trail near Victory Basin. Too quiet, always damp, even when the rest of the woods were dry. No game passed. I worked Forest Service for decades. That spot stuck with me. In 1992, we got a report of a missing couple. Left their tent, no firewood collected, no tracks past the camp, but their shoes were there. Lined up, side by side, like they were about to step into something. Not stolen, not tossed, placed. About 50 feet from the camp was an empty trail that didn't match any on our maps. It looked like it had been there forever, but no one in the department could identify it. I followed it for maybe a quarter mile and then it just stopped. Dead end. No brush, no stumps, just dirt. Flat, clean dirt. Like something had been erased. Back at the site, I felt, I don't know, not scared, more like watched, but not by anything you could see. That night, I couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about those shoes. We never did find the couple. My report left a lot out. I hiked back there once in 2008. The area was grown over, but the path was still faintly visible, as if the land itself remembered. In 2015, I heard a hunter went missing nearby. Same spot. Same shoes left behind, side by side. He was never found. I contacted the department, no one followed up. I don't think Jessup's Hollow takes people. That's too easy of an explanation. I think people go in trying to find something, and sometimes they do, but they don't always come back from it. 4. Ashford, Washington. It was a collapsed lava tube outside Ashford, one I hadn't seen on any of my survey maps. I thought it was a new collapse. Air was cold, blowing outward. I was excited. I went down solo. Bad choice, yeah, but I'd done it before. The walls were smooth. Too smooth. Not machine-made, but not natural either. They looked cleaned. After about 30 minutes down, I started noticing the way that sound behaved. My breathing echoed in the wrong direction. Rocks I dropped didn't sound like they hit the bottom. Some didn't sound at all. Then I found a vertebrae. Human-shaped, but bigger. Not cartoonishly big, just wrong-sized. The proportions were off. It was sitting on a ledge, like someone had placed it there. I turned to leave, and the passage behind me looked different. Same shape, but longer. Or maybe I was just tired, I don't know. I left fast. I don't even remember climbing, just falling upward. Back outside, my pack was missing, my rope too, but I still had my gloves, covered in a fine dust. Not dirt, dust, like dried mold. I went back to the GPS coordinates a year later, and I couldn't find the entrance. The whole slope looked different, like someone had filled it in. One guy I used to cave with said there are places under the Cascades that no one's ever mapped. Whole chambers that don't connect to anything. No air movement, no wildlife. He said they're like voids, pockets that don't want to be opened. He stopped caving, told me he dreamed of a place where the rocks pulse like lungs. I haven't gone back underground since. 5. Northern Idaho, near Clearwater National Forest. I was about 10 miles off trail in a patch of forest near Northline Ridge. There'd been sightings of a rare lynx out there, and I was trying to get some clean footage. 3 days in, and I hadn't seen much, but I kept hearing things. Twigs snapping, quick, irregular footfalls, but not a four-legged animal, too uneven. Something watching. On the 4th night, I woke up to find my campsite disturbed. My food was untouched, but one of my boots had been moved 30 feet away and placed on a tree stump. Nothing else stolen, no tracks. I started hiking back early in the next morning. About halfway out, I found something I didn't want to find. A rabbit stripped clean. No teeth marks, no blood, just skin peeled off like a sock. And near it, a footprint. Human. Bare. But the toes are wrong, longer than they should have been. Wide set, almost like a hand. That night, I made camp closer to the river. I didn't sleep. Around 2 a.m., I saw a figure crouched across the creek, pale, thin, eyes reflecting the light from my fire. It didn't run, it didn't hide, just crouched, watching. I packed in the dark and left. Weeks later, I mentioned it to a ranger, and he just laughed and said, "Feral people, man. I've been trying to tell people they're out there."
All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the 21 CD podcast. I know it was a little bit different than you're used to, but don't worry. You guys already know 21 CD is always evolving. We've got a lot of really cool stuff coming, and it was just an awesome opportunity while AJ was up here for a week or so filming this movie with me to get him on the pod. He's got to go back down to Tennessee and get all his stuff and come back up here in the next couple weeks. And we've got some adventures to go on in the meantime as well. But very soon you will see him as a regular person. Most likely he'll even have his own day of the week. I think that's going to be a really fun thing for the pod. So if you guys want to support the show, you already know, just go to 21cdstudios.com and click on some stuff, and I'll see you next week. Don't drink the water, question everything. Later.